Hey everyone, it's Michael from Chess Lifestyle, and today I wanted to discuss with you a concept in chess which has really helped take my chess to the next level in these last few months, and that is this concept called the initiative. Now, the initiative, it's basically where you have like an advantage in the position and you're pressing, and you basically keep maintaining the attack and go on to win the game like that. And when you have the initiative, not always is it like a dead one-sided advantage. Like sometimes it might be some kind of dynamic advantage where maybe your opponent's position is statically better, but since you have some kind of like attacking potential, some active pieces, like in the moment you have some kind of advantage. So it's about like kind of like honing that in and then using that to win. Today I wanted to show you a game which I played in the semi-final of the online UK Chess League, and I was on top board playing an FM, and you'll see his rating looks a bit lower, but that's just his chess.com rapid. Like I saw that his blitz is like 2400 and in real life he's like high 2200s. So yeah, not a bad player, and essentially I got into a completely winning position through very little calculation, just playing on the initiative and improving all of my pieces. So anyway, you'll see the game. So yeah, see you there. Okay, so firstly apologies in advance because I'm kind of eating lunch, so this can be like a ASMR mix of eating crunchy veg plus some great chess analysis. But anyway, this is the starting position. So Rook E1 has just been played. I was black. I decided to skip the opening because I feel like it's not too important, it's just some theory. But yeah, it was a Sicilian Rosolimo, just for anyone who was interested. Yeah, so we start with Rook E1, and now I want you to take maybe a minute to get a feeling for the position and then decide what you would play. Okay, so nice job if you found the move G5. I believe it's actually Engine's top move here, which is kind of unusual because these kind of really aggressive moves are like quite often they're maybe not in the style of a computer, but they offer really good practical chances. Yeah, so basically the reason why I went for this move was because if you look at my position, I have developed all of my minor pieces. So now what I teach my students is, okay, I've got good control of the center, I've developed my pieces, now you should keep your king safe. But if I were to castle in this position, the problem is that it's like you need to have a plan in chess. And yes, my king is safe, but if you look at white's pawn structure, the pawns are going this way, and there's kind of a general inclination for white to maybe somehow try and attack this side of a board. And my pawn structure is slightly crippled, so maybe like in terms of like static advantages, I'm probably slightly worse. So I feel like in this position, you know, my piece is developed, his pieces aren't. This is a good opportunity to attack. And the other really good thing about the move G5 is that if we look at white's kingside, white has wasted a tempo playing H3 to stop an earlier bishop G4. And what that has allowed is it's created a hook for my pawns to latch onto when I attack the king. So yeah, there's this knight as well, that's a target for my pawn on G5. And I recently read a chapter in the Under the Surface book, and it was kind of more of a basic chapter, but it was still nice to be put into words. But basically, it was all about hierarchy on the chessboard and how even though queens are the strongest, they actually get bullied and harassed the most by the other pieces. So yeah, the knight was the target, pawn is weaker than a knight, so we can harass the knight. So that is exactly what I did with the move G5. White tries to develop with knight BD2, and I push on with G4. And now suddenly I've got some serious attacking potential. We have this open G file lined up against the king, which a rook would love to go on. Okay, pawn structure, okay, we've got 3 islands now, so to be honest, we don't really want to be entering an endgame unless we're like outright winning, like we're material up. So in this position, white played knight f1, and the idea behind knight f1 is, okay, now we can develop this bishop somewhere useful. Okay, maybe not that square, I'm not sure where it belongs, maybe here. And also maybe the knight can assist in defending the king, like it can control some weak squares around the king. Now, maybe some beginners who have an idea of how to attack, like open files like this and like just try and launch the pieces in, might start trying to push with like h5, h4, maybe bring the rook to the open file immediately. But a more experienced attacker would realize that if you want to checkmate the king, you really need to use every piece at your disposal to attack the king. Because right now, okay, the knights are coming back, slowly white will be able to unravel, and just make sure his king is nicely defended. And if we attack with just a few pieces, this attack isn't going to work. Like, you might get lucky, but with best play it won't. So this is why I played queen c7 here. The queen being on d8 was really useful for the g5 push, but now its purpose on d8 is done. So we play queen c7, the idea being put some pressure on the center as well as getting ready to castle our king. And here white tries to gain some tempi, bring another piece to the defense, we maintain the pin. And here white plays a4. So you might think at this stage, okay, white is starting to push on the queen side, maybe we shouldn't castle queenside. But the point is, actually, if we castle queenside, if we evaluate this a4, a5, a6 idea, it's actually not too strong, because as soon as the white pawn gets all the way to a6, then we just play b6 and block up the position, and with no open lines to my king is safe. So white will have to waste a lot of tempi for that, and white played very quickly a5, which I'm not sure if it's the best move. I mean, I think there are more pressing ways we can try and challenge this position, maybe sacking a pawn with b4 and playing c4, something like this might be a better try. But okay, at this point, you know, no time to waste trying to like make any moves on the queen side, so I instead try and attack the king side. So I start off with rook h to g8, and now white develops his final piece with bishop d2. And at this point I thought, okay, at some point white is going to, I don't know if immediately, like play a rook b1 and basically try and play c4, b4 and try and advance on my queen side and break up my position. And I thought, okay, c4 is probably like nothing to worry about. I mean, my knight has a safe square on b4 and it kind of does a good job of blocking up the position. But since I've got an initiative on the king side, I've got an open file, all of my pieces are developed, my king is now castled, I felt like I wanted to really push for an attack. So in this position I found a nice move. You can pause the video now if you want to try and find it. But yeah, my nice move was the move c4. The idea being is now c4 attacking my knight is impossible, and we introduce a new pin in the position. So my opponent captured d takes c4, and suddenly now all of my pieces come into play with the move knight f4. So suddenly my rook is pinning the bishop to the queen, my bishop is pinning the knight to the queen. This knight is kind of like blocked by its own piece. It can't come to its most important square, it can't come to g4. So the whole of white's position is actually really difficult to play now. So the immediate threat as well as the knight is, we've got a double attack on this g2 pawn, so white tries to defend with pawn to g3. Now again, when you're in a position like this, you've got the initiative and you feel like there's some good tactical possibilities, it's always good to consider what checks and captures you have in the position. So one check that looks kind of nice, maybe is knight h3. But the problem is after knight h3, king g2, there's really no continuation here. And actually, when we think about it logically, not all of our pieces are on their best squares. So for the attack to work, we really want all of our pieces in their prime attacking position. So that is exactly why I played bishop c5. I was debating between bishop c5 and bishop h4, but I felt like bishop c5, this diagonal is perhaps more important, the bishop's slightly safer in this square, which could be useful in some lines. So just intuitively, I felt bishop c5 was the right try, and the computer agrees. And here, white tries to escape from some of the pins with king f1. And now I decided to keep putting up the pressure. Like right now, my knight is being attacked. To be honest, I'm not sure if he can take it, but I saw a new target, which was the pawn on f2. So I decided to attack that, since the bishop cannot come to e3, since the rook is pinning the bishop to the queen, and it's actually very hard. These minor pieces are very badly coordinated. They cannot defend the pawn on f2. So in this position, white was forced to play rook e2 to kind of hold everything together. And now this is the point where we look at our position and we think, okay, this bishop does a great job pinning. Our knight and bishop are putting great pressure on the squares around white's king. Our rook is pinning the bishop to the queen, and our other rook is also on its best line on g8. So this is the point where you do need to calculate. You have played, you've pushed your initiative all the way to the end, you've played great intuitive chess, but now you always need some kind of calculation at the end of the line to make sure you finish off your opponent. And in this position, I actually missed a nice idea, which was f5. And the point is we're essentially bringing yet another attacker into the game. So actually, yeah, that's a good point for myself. Like, even though all my pieces are super active and super great, let's not forget about the pawns. So f5, f4 is, you know, increasing the pressure even further. So that was a winning try. My move was also decent. And I basically calculated this long line where, okay, this knight is pinned, this bishop is pinned, so basically this knight is immune, unless white wants some trouble. And basically, this knight, like apparently king g2 was the best move here, but practically it's very hard to defend, especially the time control was 10 minutes plus 5 seconds. Like, if you're on the defensive side, finding like only moves to defend can be really tough. So here, white tried to diffuse the situation by simplifying, which is a tactic sometimes, but in this case it doesn't work, because I calculated the line after knight takes g5, I've got rook takes g5, the bishop is still pinned, we've got this pin going on here, and yeah, white decided the only way to resolve this was to play a position with a rook and a piece versus a queen. So we went down this line of bishop takes g5, rook takes d1, rook takes d1, bishop takes e2, king takes e2, and we now have a winning position. Queen takes e5 as the threat, forking these two pieces. Here, bishop e3 would be forced, and suddenly all the pawns are dropping. We have a great pass pawn on the h-file. The white rook has no entry points. This is completely crushing. Now, actually, in this position, I was really annoyed with myself, because I calculated all of this line, and in my calculation, like 4 moves earlier, I thought bishop e7 was forced because there's some rook d8 idea. So I played bishop e7 really quickly, and then I think both my opponent and then myself as well were really shocked. Oh, why didn't I just take the pawn, queen e5? And then, okay, we get into this position where I'm still objectively winning, and from here I played pretty well, and I got some, I got many winning opportunities, but in the end, I was left with a queen and pawn and king versus king, rook and knight, and he managed to create like a fortress, and it was really difficult to push, and in the end I got extremely lucky, because my opponent actually disconnected for a few seconds, and it was like in a big time scramble. We were playing on increment for like a good 40 moves or something, so yeah, I got my luck there. But the point is, the rest of the game, it doesn't take anything away from the fact that, you know, with very little calculation, just with pure logic, you can, you know, completely outplay an FM. Like, you just need to get a feel for where your pieces belong. Make sure when you attack, you bring every piece into the attack. When you have the initiative and you're pressing, you don't sit back and allow white to consolidate. Like in this position, for instance, after move 20 rook e2, all of our pieces are in prime position. We've got to press, we've got to find the crushing blow. So yeah, that's how you attack, that's how you use intuition, that's how you play with the initiative. So that's all from me. I actually ended up like eating hardly any of my food because I was too busy talking. But yeah, hope you learned something from that. It would be great to hear your stories with like how you view intuition, calculation, playing with initiative. And yeah, best of luck with your chess journey. So see you next time. Bye.